I pulled the trigger on my brother's life with a single word, no, and watched his world shatter like the cheap ornaments tumbling from our childhood tree. That Christmas morning, as the snow piled up outside our mom's creaky old Victorian in upstate New York, he screamed that I was killing the family, that blood meant nothing anymore. But he didn't know the half of it. I'd already buried his sins for a decade. And this was the spark that would burn it all down. What he called betrayal was just the echo of his own knife in my back, twisted deeper with every lie he'd fed me since we were kids stealing smokes from Dad's glove box. The call came at 2:17 a.m., jolting me awake in the guest room that still smelled like mothballs and regret. Mom's house hadn't changed since the 90s, same faded wallpaper with a floral pattern peeling at the edges like old skin. Same sagging couch where we'd binge-watch VHS tapes of Die Hard every holiday. I was crashing here for the week, nursing a fresh divorce and a six-pack of resentment, when my phone buzzed like a hornet trapped in my palm. Unknown number. Upstate area code. I almost let it ring out, figuring it was some telemarketer hawking extended warranties on a life I didn't want anymore. But curiosity's a bitch, especially when it's laced with the kind of insomnia that comes from replaying your ex-husband's "I love you, but not enough" on loop. Raven. The voice on the other end was gravelly, edged with that fake urgency salesman use. I sat up, sheets tangling around my legs like restraints. It took me a beat to place it, Ethan. My baby brother. The golden boy who'd skipped town after high school with a duffel bag and dreams of Wall Street. He sounded older now, worn down, like the city had sanded off his charm. Yeah, it's me. What the hell?
Ethan?
It's the ass crack of dawn. A pause, heavy as the snow muffling the world outside. I need a favor. A big one. Look, I'm in a bind. Sarah left me, took the kids, and the bank's breathing down my neck. I gotta come home. With the family. Just for a bit. Mom's place is room, right? We can all hole up. Figure shit out. Sarah. His high school sweetheart. The one who'd stuck by him through community college and that shady real estate gig in Buffalo. They'd had 2 kids, little Emma with her gap-toothed grin, and Tyler, the soccer nut who idolized Ethan like he was freaking Superman. I pictured them now, crammed into some Fleabag motel off the thruway, Ethan's lies stacking up like eviction notices. Home, I echoed, rubbing my eyes. The clock's red glow mocked me. Ethan, it's Christmas Eve tomorrow. Mom's barely holding it together since Dad's stroke. You haven't called in months. And now you want to crash the party with your baggage? His laugh was brittle, the kind that hides a fist. Baggage? Come on.
Rav.
We're family.
Blood.
You owe me. Owe him. The words landed like a sucker punch, dredging up the silt at the bottom of our shared history. I owed him. All right, for the night he talked his way out of juvie by pinning his screw-up on me. For the loans that never got repaid. For the way he'd always been the one Mom fawned over while I scraped by on grit and a nursing degree from SUNY. But this felt different. Desperate. Dangerous. Fine, I muttered, because saying no to Ethan had always been like trying to dam the Niagara with a paper towel. Talk to Mom in the morning. But don't expect a hero's welcome. He hung up with a thanks that tasted like ash. And I lay there staring at the ceiling cracks that mapped out our fractured lives. Little did I know, that call was the first crack in the ice under his feet, the one I'd stomped through come dawn. By the time the sun clawed its way over the Adirondacks, the house was a whirlwind of forced cheer. Mom shuffled around the kitchen in her reindeer slippers, humming off-key to Bing Crosby on the radio while she mashed potatoes that no one would eat. She'd aged a decade since Dad's heart attack last spring, her once sharp blue eyes now foggy with pills and denial. "Raven. Honey. Pass the tinsel," she'd say, as if stringing lights could stitch up the holes in our family quilt. I was untangling the lights in the living room when the doorbell rang like a gunshot.
Ethan.
Right on cue, hauling in duffel bags and two wide-eyed kids who looked like they'd been dragged through a blizzard. Emma clutched a ratty stuffed unicorn, her cheeks flushed from the cold, while Tyler lugged a backpack bigger than he was, sneaking glances at the Christmas tree like it might bite.
Rav.
Ethan enveloped me in a bear hug that smelled of cheap aftershave and stale cigarettes, his stubble scraping my cheek. He was broader now, paunch starting to soften the edges of his once lean frame. But those hazel eyes, mirrors of my own, still sparkled with that conman glint. "God, it's good to see you. You look
Fierce.
divorce suits you." I extricated myself, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Yeah, well, freedom's a hell of a glow-up."
Kids.
"This is Aunt Raven. She's the cool one who doesn't make you eat Brussels sprouts." They giggled, and for a split second, the room warmed. Mom bustled in, tears already glistening, pulling Ethan into an embrace that swallowed him whole. "My boy. My baby boy.
Come.
Come, dinner's almost ready." We don't talk about the hard stuff on Christmas, but the hard stuff was already seeping in like smoke under the door. Over turkey that was drier than Dad's old jokes, Ethan spun his tale. Sarah had snapped, run off with some accountant from her yoga class, leaving him with maxed-out cards and a foreclosure notice on their split level in Syracuse. The kids needed stability, he said, voice cracking just enough to sell it. Mom nodded furiously, piling seconds on his plate, while I picked at my food, the weight of his gaze pinning me like a specimen under glass. "You get it, right, sis?" he said later, as we washed dishes side by side, the kids crashing on the couch with hot cocoa mustaches. Water sloshed in the sink, steam fogging the window where snowflakes danced mockingly. "I mean, after what you went through with Mark, losing the house, the savings, family's all we've got left."
Mark. My ex.
The accountant who'd traded me for a junior associate half his age. The divorce had gutted me, left me couch surfing and questioning every choice since high school. But Ethan's sympathy felt scripted, like he was reading from a cue card. "Yeah," I replied, scrubbing a plate harder than necessary. "Family. Thick as thieves."
Huh.
His hand on my shoulder was light, brotherly. "Always.
Hey.
Remember that time we boosted Dad's truck for that joyride to the lake? Cops pulled us over. But you took the heat. Said it was your idea. Saved my ass." I froze, sponge dripping suds onto the linoleum. That night, 15 years ago, summer heat thick as molasses. We'd been dumb kids, high on stolen beer, Ethan egging me on until I hot-wired the keys. The cop had bought my story, let us off with a warning. But Ethan's grin in the rear view had been pure relief, not gratitude. "Yeah," I said tightly. I remember that night, as the house settled into snores and the wind howled like a warning. I couldn't sleep. The guest room felt smaller with Ethan's presence downstairs, his snores rumbling through the floorboards like distant thunder. I slipped into the kitchen for water, the fridge humming its lonely tune. When I spotted it, his phone, charging on the counter, screen lighting up with a text notification. Hey babe. Kids settled? Can't wait for our plan. Miss you.
S. Babe.
As for Sarah, my pulse kicked up, a drumbeat in my ears. I glanced around. The house was dark. Silent, then snatched the phone. Password. Our old dog's birthday. 0612. Pathetic. The messages unspoled like a bad novel. Not desperation,
but design.
Sarah wasn't gone. She wasn't on it. Weather's clear for the drop. One read. Funds wired, $50K. He won't suspect a thing. Attached, a photo of a storage unit key. Time-stamped yesterday. My hands shook as the pieces slammed together. The bind wasn't divorce, it was a scam. Ethan and Sarah. Playing house for the suckers, probably insurance fraud. Or worse, dipping into mom's savings under the guise of family crisis. And me, the perfect cover. The loyal sister who'd vouch for him, maybe even co-sign a loan with my fresh credit after the divorce. I set the phone down, heart pounding like a war drum. Betrayal wasn't new with Ethan, it was his love language. But this was carving into mom's last fragile years, using the kids as props in his grift. I thought of Dad, slurring warnings from his hospital bed about Ethan's hunches, always costing someone. I'd covered for him then, too, forged a signature on a car title that blew up in my face. Lost my first job over it. Buried secrets like bodies in the backyard. Dawn crept in gray and unforgiving. The tree lights blinking like false promises. Breakfast was pancakes and pretense. Ethan flipping them with a flourish while the kids cheered. Mom beamed, her robe belted tight against the chill.
See?
This is what Christmas is for. Mending fences. I watched him over my coffee, steam curling like questions. When he caught my eye, that grin flashed, charming, disarming. What's up?
Rav?
You look like you swallowed a lemon. Move in, I said flatly, setting my mug down with a clink that cut the chatter. You said it last night. You and the kids. Crashing here. Indefinitely. The room stilled. Mom's fork hovered midair. Emma's eyes widened, syrup dripping from her chin. Ethan's laugh was easy. Too easy.
Whoa.
Slow down. I meant temporary. A week.
Tops.
Get back on my feet.
No.
The word hung there. Simple as a guillotine. You don't get to waltz in
Spinhor sob story.
and leech off mom's fixed income. Not while you're texting your ex about drops and wires. Pack up. Now. His face drained of color, then flushed red as the poinsettia on the sill. What the fuck? Raven? You going through my phone? That's low. Even for you. Mom gasped, hand to her mouth. Language. Kids. Ethan. I cut in. Voice steal. The storage unit. The 50 grand. You think I wouldn't notice? You're not broke. You're broke on purpose. And dragging the kids into it? That's the line. He slammed his fist on the table. Plates rattling. You don't know shit. Sarah did leave because of you. You bitter bitch. Always poisoning the well. Telling her I was no good. This is family. Raven. My kids need a roof. You're killing us, killing me, by kicking us out in the snow. The kids whimpered. Tyler burying his face in his hands. Mom's eyes darted between us. Tears spilling silent. Please. Babies. Don't. But Ethan was on his feet. chair scraping back like nails on chalkboard. Blood means nothing to you.
Does it?
After all I've done. All you've done. I shot up, matching his fury inch for inch. Like framing me for that check kiting in college? Or the affair you covered with my apartment as your love nest. I took the fall every time. Ethan. Buried your messes so you could play the prodigal son. No more. His eyes narrowed. That cunning flicker I'd seen in boardrooms he bragged about crashing. You think you're clean? That nursing gig you lost, embezzling meds for your pillhead friends? I kept my mouth shut. We all got skeletons. Sis. The air thickened. Accusation hanging like fog. Mom sobbed openly now,
Clutching her napkin.
the kids bolted upstairs. Footsteps thundering like judgment. Get out, I whispered, the words a blade. Before I call the cops myself, he grabbed his coat. Snow melting off the boots into dark puddles. This isn't over, Raven. You just declared war on your own blood. The door slammed, wind howling in his wake, leaving silence sharper than any scream. But as the echo faded, my phone buzzed again, not Ethan, but a number I hadn't seen in years. Detective Harlan. From the old case. Raven, got a tip on that cold file you poked at last year. Your brother's name came up. Meet me. The hook sank deeper. This wasn't just family fallout. It was the unraveling of everything I'd buried to protect us both. And as Mom's sobs filled the void, I realized the revenge I'd craved wasn't against Ethan. It was against the girl who'd covered for him all those years.
Me.
Detective Harlan waited in a booth at the diner off Route 20. The kind of place where the coffee's black as sin and the pie's the only thing sweeter than the gossip. It was pushing noon by the time I pulled my beat-up Civic into the gravel lot. Snow tires crunching like bones underfoot. The Christmas rush had hit, families crammed into vinyl seats. Kids hyped on eggnog and expectation, but Harlan sat alone, nursing a mug that could have doubled as an ashtray. He was pushing 60, face like weathered leather from too many stakeouts and not enough sun, but his eyes still held that cop sharpness, the kind that peeled back lies like onion skins. Raven Cole, he said, standing to shake my hand, grip firm but not crushing. Heard about the divorce.
Sorry.
Mark was a prick. Takes one to know one, I quipped, sliding into the booth. The vinyl squeaked, cold seeping through my jeans. A waitress with a name tag reading Darlene slapped down a menu I wouldn't use. What's this about, Ethan? You said a tip. He leaned in, voice low over the clatter of silverware and Dean Martin crooning from the jukebox. Cold case from '08. The hit and run on Mill Road. Driver fled. Left a single mom and her toddler DOA. We chased leads for years. Tires marks from a Ford F-150. Paint flecks blue as a robin's egg. Nothing stuck. Until last week. My stomach twisted. The pancakes from breakfast turning to lead. Mill Road. That stretch of blacktop winding through the pines, where the summer fair spilled drunks onto the shoulder. I'd been 22, fresh out of nursing school, crashing at Mom's after a bad breakup. Ethan had shown up hammered, keys jangling, begging for a ride. I'd said no for once, and he'd peeled out anyway, laughing like the devil. Go on, I managed, fingers drumming the formica. Anonymous tip. Envelope at the station, no prints. Postmarked Buffalo. Inside, a dashcam still from a truck stop security feed. Timestamp matches the accident to the minute. Truck's an '07 F-150.
Blue.
Registered to Ethan Cole. The world tilted. Diner smells, bacon grease. Burnt toast choking me. I'd known.
Deep down.
From the way he'd stumbled in at dawn, reeking of whiskey and denial, babbling about a dear. Rav. Swear to God. Mom had hushed him, made me swear silence. He's your brother. Boys make mistakes. I'd buried it. Told myself it was a scratch, not a scar. But 2 lives, Maria Gonzalez, the mom with dreams of teaching ESL, and little Sophia, all curls and giggles, erased because Ethan couldn't hand over the keys. Why now? I whispered. After all this time? Harlan shrugged, stirring sugar into his coffee like it was absolution. Tip says Ethan's desperate. Money troubles. Maybe looking to flip assets. Someone's tired of his games. He slid a photo across the table, grainy black and white. Ethan behind the wheel. Face blurred but unmistakable. That cocky tilt to his jaw. I stared at it, the past bleeding into the present. What do you need from me? Corroboration. You were there that night. His alibi was you picking him up at the bar. But records show you clocked out at the hospital at 10 p.m. Timeline's off. If I talked, Ethan rotted. If I didn't, the ghost of Mill Road haunted us forever. I need time, I said, pocketing the photo like contraband. He's at the house now, or was. Family drama. Harlan's brow furrowed. Don't take too much. Statutes breathing down our necks. And Raven? This ain't just about him. Covering up's accessory after the fact. Accessory. The words stuck like burrs as I drove back. Wipers slapping snow from the windshield. I'd been accessory to his charm. His cons. His chaos. Thinking love meant swallowing the bitter pills. But Maria's face, pieced from old news clippings in my mind, stared back accusing. What about her blood? Her child's? The house loomed at the end of Elm Street. Lights strung haphazard like drunken spiderwebs. Ethan's truck wasn't in the drive. Good. He'd cleared out, but Mom's Oldsmobile was. Engine still ticking cool. Inside. The air was thick with tinsel and tension. She was in the living room, folding wrapping paper with mechanical precision, eyes red-rimmed but dry. He called, she said without looking up. Screaming about you spying, about cutting him off. Said you're jealous, Raven. That you've always hated him for being the favorite. I sank onto the couch, the springs groaning.
Mom.
It's not. Don't. Her voice cracked like thin ice. Don't lie to me. I know my boy. He's hurting, but he's good.
Deep down.
Like his father.
Dad.
The mill worker who drunk away his pension. Left us with debts and delusions. Ethan was his echo. All bluster and broken promises. I pulled out the photo, let it flutter to the coffee table like a dead leaf. This good enough for you? Mill Road. Oh, 8. He killed them.
Mom.
And I let him walk because you begged me. She snatched it up, glasses slipping down her nose. The color drained from her face, then surged back in splotches.
No. No.
That's not. Ethan said it was an accident. A swerve. You were supposed to drive him. I tried. The shout echoed off the walls, startling us both. He grabbed the keys.
Mom.
Laughed in my face. And when the cops came sniffing, you made me lie. Said I was with him all night. I lost friends over that. Nurses who knew I was on shift. My reputation. For him. Tears welled, but she swiped them away fierce. We protected him. Family does that. You think I don't carry it? Every Christmas. Every damn ornament. I see Sophia's face in the paper. But turning him in? That kills me too. Her words hung. A noose of our making. I wanted to rage. To shake her until the truth tumbled out. But all I felt was the hollow ache of complicity. He's scamming you now, I said softer. The divorce. The money, it's a play. For what? To run again. She crumpled the photo, stuffing it in her pocket like shame. Then help him. One last time. For me. I left her there, the tree mocking us with its glow, and stepped into the snow-whipped afternoon. My phone buzzed, Ethan. We need to talk. Meet at the old mill. Alone. 5 p.m. The mill. Ruins on the riverbank, where we'd skipped stones as kids and buried secrets as teens. Fitting. I texted back, fine. But no games. As I trudged through the drifts, the cold seeping into my bones, Harlan's warning echoed. Time was a luxury I didn't have. But revenge? That was a fire I'd banked for years. And now it crackled hot. Ethan thought he knew betrayal? I'd show him the depth of the grave I'd dug for us both. The mill squatted by the frozen Mohawk, skeletal beams clawing at the slate sky. Snow muffled my footsteps as I approached. The rivers rasped the only sound besides my breath fogging the air. Ethan's truck was parked crooked in the lot, exhaust ghosting like cigarette smoke. He leaned against the tailgate, bundled in a parka that swallowed his frame, face shadowed under a wool cap. You came, he said. No smile this time. Just wariness. Like a cornered fox. Figured you'd sick the cops after that stunt. I stopped 10 feet out, hands jammed in my pockets against the bite. Tempting. But blood. Right? That's your line. He pushed off the truck, boots crunching gravel under snow. Look, Rav, I get it. You're pissed. The phone thing, that's Sarah's side hustle. All right, drops for some. Investments. Risky, but it'll get us square. Kids need braces. College funds. You were a single paycheck away from eviction yourself last year. Don't judge. Judge. The laugh barked out. Sharp. Ethan, this isn't about money. It's Mill Road. Harlan showed me the proof. Dashcam. You're done running. His face shuddered. Then cracked, fear. Raw and real. Flashing before the mask slammed down. That? Ancient history. A mistake. I was wasted. Yeah. But the deer, it jumped. I panicked. You think I don't see their faces every night? Maria. Sophia, fuck. Rav. I sent flowers every anniversary. Anonymous. Flowers? Fury boiled up. Hot as bourbon. You left me to lie for you. Mom, too. We carried that weight so you could chase your highs. And now, scamming Mom for a quick flip? Using the kids as bait. He stepped closer, voice dropping to that Weedle I'd heard sell Girl Scout cookies to nuns. Help me one more time. Wire the cash, your settlement from Mark. 50 grand covers the drop. Clears the slate. Then poof, new start. For all of us. I'll even cut you in. The offer dangled. Poison fruit. My settlement, blood money from a marriage that chewed me up, was the last clean thing I had. You're delusional, I spat. I'm calling Harlan right now. His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist, not hard, but insistent.
Wait.
There's more. The tip? It wasn't random. Sarah, she's flipping. Wants immunity,
Probably.
but she doesn't know the half. That night, I wasn't alone. Time fractured.
What?
You were late from work. I waited at the bar. But this guy, older, suit like a Fed, buys me drinks. Asks about Dad's old crew at the mill. Union beefs. Grudges. Next thing, we're driving. Him in the passenger seat, egging me on. Teach him a lesson, he says. Then the swerve, bam. He bails. Vanishes. License was fake. But I thought it was random. Until last month. He calls. Says the drop's payback. For Mill Road. My mind reeled. Pieces scattering like confetti. Not just Ethan's fuck-up, a setup?
Who?
Harlan.
Worse.
DA's office. Corruption sting gone wrong. They pinned it on me to bury the trail. His eyes pleaded.
Twin to mine.
We expose it together. Twist the knife on them. Family sticks. Rav. I yanked free. Heart hammering. Lie or lifeline. The snow swirled. Blurring lines. Prove it. He pulled a burner phone from his pocket, thumbing through texts, timestamps. A voice memo of the Fed slurring threats. Grainy, but damning.
See?
Were the marks. Always were. Doubt wormed in. Sweet as absolution. If true, my lies weren't complicity, they were survival. But Ethan's track record? A flipbook of facades. One call, I said. To verify. As I dialed Harlan, Ethan watched, snow crusting his lashes. The line clicked voicemail. Detective, it's Raven.
Call back. Urgent.
But deep down, I knew this was the pivot. The controversial fork where right blurred to wrong. Save him. Damn us both. Or burr it down. Orphan the kids? The river rushed on. Indifferent, as the first flakes of doubt melted into resolve. Whatever came next, Christmas Mercy was dead. Harlan called back at dusk, his voice crackling over the line like static from a bad connection. I'd retreated to the mill's shadow, Ethan pacing nearby, kicking snow into frustrated puffs while the kids' faces, innocent collateral, flashed in my mind. Raven, you sound like hell. What's the play? I glanced at Ethan, his breath fogging between us. The tip on Mill Road. It's bigger than Ethan. A Fed. DA angle. Setup. You know anything? A silence stretched, taut as a wire. Then, Christ. Meet me at the station.
Now.
Bring him.
Click.
The drive to the Plattsburgh PD was a funeral procession, headlights carving tunnels through the blizzard that had kicked up like God's own tantrum. Ethan rode shotgun, silent for once, fingers drumming the dash in a rhythm that screamed nerves. You believe me? He finally asked, voice small. About the Fed? Maybe. About you changing? Jury's out. The wipers thwacked. A metronome to my mistrust. Streetlights blurred past, neon nativity scenes in yards, mocking our mess. The station was a squat brick bunker, fluorescent buzz welcoming us like interrogators. Harlan met us in the lobby, badge glinting under harsh light, flanked by a uniform who eyed Ethan like yesterday's trash. Cole, he grunted, then led us to a conference room that smelled of stale donuts and despair. No cuffs. No Miranda. Just folding chairs and a tape recorder whirring to life. Spill, Harlan said, arms crossed. Ethan did, words tumbling fast. The bar, the suit, the drinks laced with suggestion. The voice memo played tinny. Mill rats deserve it. Swerve wide.
Kid.
Make it stick. A chill unrelated to the draft snaked down my spine. The voice was polished. East Coast clip, not local. Harlan's jaw worked overtime. This from 08? Why surface now? The drop, Ethan pressed. Sarah's in deep. Mules for this ghost. He calls it interest on the silence. $50K. Or the tape goes public. But it's bullshit. He's bleeding dry. I leaned forward, nails digging into palms. The accident, was it him pushing? Or are you just drunk and dumb? Ethan's gaze dropped. Both. I saw the car too late. Family minivan. Lights off. Braked.
But
He trailed. The unsaid heavy, but I was the wheelman. Harlan rubbed his temples. If this checks, it's obstruction.
conspiracy.
Feds will bury you both. But if it's DA brass. He trailed, eyes flicking to me. You covered then. Why flip now? Because I said, voice steady as I could make it. The kids.
Mom.
Can't let him drag them under his avalanche.
Lie.
Truth? The line blurred. Controversial as hell. Protecting the guilty to shield the innocent. We left with a deal. Ethan turned states. Wears a wire on the next meet. I walk, for now, with a shadow on my tail. Watch your back. Raven, Harlan muttered in the lot. Snow stinging like accusations. Family's the best blind spot. Back home. Mom was a ghost in her own kitchen, stirring cocoa that went cold. The kids had called. Sarah's doing. Probably. Spinning tales of Aunt Raven the villain. He hates me now, Mom whispered, handing me a mug. My boy. Because of you. He's a man.
Mom.
His choices. But the words tasted hollow. Upstairs, I rifled Ethan's duffel, left behind in the chaos, finding not just socks and scams, but a locket. Sophia's. From the news. Tiny silver heart. Engraved me angel. Inside. A curl of dark hair. He kept it. Memento or manipulation. Sleep evaded me. The house creaking confessions. Dawn brought Sarah, unannounced. Pulling up in a rental Taurus. Emma and Tyler tumbling out with backpacks and bewildered eyes. She was still a knockout. Yoga-toned in Lululemon. But her smile was brittle as the ice glazing the walk. Raven, she said, hugging me stiff. Ethan's. Upset. Said you overreacted. We're staying at the motel. But the kids wanted Christmas here.
Peace. Peace.
The word mocked as we strung popcorn garlands. Tyler chattering about reindeer games while Emma colored angels with broken crayons. Ethan arrived late, bearing gifts, cheap Barbies, and a Nerf gun that popped like gunfire. His eyes met mine over the tree. Truce? Or trap? Dinner was a minefield. Turkey reheated. Wine flowing too free. Mom toasted second chances, her voice wobbling. Sarah cooed over the kids, but her foot tapped under the table. Morse code for hurry up. Ethan, buzzed on Merlot, launched into stories, our childhood capers, edited for charm. Remember the time Rav hotwired Dad's truck? Wild girl. I force a laugh, but the locket burned in my pocket. Swiped from his bag.
Yeah,
And who took the blame?
me.
Always the fixer. The table tensed. Sarah's fork paused. Ethan mentioned. Tensions. But family's family. Right? Right, he echoed.
But his eyes dared me. Push.
I did. Post pie. Kids abed with sugar crashes. I cornered Sarah in the powder room. The drop. What's the real play? Her face paled in the mirror's glow. He told you? It's nothing quick cash. For us. But her eyes darted. Betraying. For the Fed? Or whoever's holding Mill Road over him. I leaned in. Voice a hiss. The voice memo. Harlan has it. She crumpled against the sink. Mascara streaking.
God.
Raven. It's not just Ethan. I was there that night, waitressing the bar. The suit bought rounds for the whole shift. Fished for dirt on the union. Ethan was the mark. But when he grabbed keys, I should have stopped him. Guilt's why I stayed. Why the scams? To pay off the ghost's hush money. Twist upon twist. Like a knife fight in the dark. Who's the ghost? Victor Lang. XDA. Now consultant in Albany. Covered union bribes. Pin the swerve on Ethan to close the file. Now he's squeezing for more. Kickbacks on real estate flips. She wiped her eyes.
Fierce.
Help us wire him. Get the proof. Or we all sink. I stared. The mirror reflecting a woman I'd become. Avenger or enabler. Ethan flips on you too? She laughed bitter. Already has. Told Harlan I'd roll. But the kids. The door banged, Ethan. Drunk weaving. Plotting without me? His grin was wolfish. But the slur betrayed fear. Sarah slipped out. Leaving us. Rav. The wires tomorrow. Meet at the warehouse off 87. Lang's coming. You in? The question hung. Divisive as sin. Back him. Betray justice? Or expose? Fracture forever? I lied. The word tasting like cyanide. As he crashed on the couch, I texted Harlan. Change of plans. It's Lang. Setting trap. But doubt not. What if Ethan flipped again? What if I was the fool? Bearing sins not mine? Christmas Eve candles flickered. Shadows dancing like devils on my soul. Next morning, the warehouse loomed industrial and unforgiving. Chain link rattling in the wind off Lake Champlain. Ethan waited by his truck. Wire hidden under flannel, Harlan's tech, bulky as guilt. I parked distant, watching from my dash. Heart a jackhammer. Sarah's Taurus idled nearby. Kids in back oblivious. Munching drive-through hash browns. Lang arrived sleek in a black Escalade. Salt and pepper hair gleaming. Burberry coat screaming old money. XDA. Now lobbyist. Newspaper clips I devoured overnight painted him crooked. Plea deals for donors. Slush funds funneled through charities. He shook Ethan's hand like an equal. Voice smooth as oiled leather.
Coal.
The wire's 50. Clean. My phone fed the audio. Harlan listening live from the PD. Ethan's voice. Steady. Last time. Vic. Mill Road's buried deep. Lang chuckled low. Buried? With your sister's help?
Cute.
The nurse who clocked out early. Vouched anyway. Loyalty's expensive. My blood iced.
He knew about me.
Ethan pressed. The union hit. That was your play. Set up to silence the rats. A pause. Then Lang's tone chilled. Ancient. Pay up. Or the dashcam resurfaces, with her prints on the cover story. Her.
Me.
The trap snapped not on him, but us. Ethan faltered. Wait. Lang's hand dipped, emerging with a .38, matte black and businesslike. No, wait. Family's messy.
Kid.
Like that minivan. The shot cracked, echo booming off metal walls. Ethan crumpled, red blooming on his shirt. No gore in my mind's eye. Just collapse. Final. I floored it, tires spinning snow. But too late, Lang's Escalade roared away. Sarah's car frozen in shock. Harlan's voice exploded in my ear. Raven. Units en route. But I was already out, knees in slush, pressing my scarf to Ethan's wound. Hold on, you bastard. You flipped last. His eyes fluttered, hand clutching the locket around his neck.
Rav. Sorry.
4. Everything. A gurgle. Then slack. Sirens wailed distant. Too late. Sarah screamed from her car. Kids wailing. Mom's call buzzed ignored. Where's my boy? Lang gone. But the tape, our confession, burned in Ethan's pocket. Justice? Or just another grave? The hospital was a purgatory of beeps and bleach. Christmas carols piped in like torture from the lobby speakers. Ethan clung to life in the ICU. Tubes snaking like accusations. His chest rising shallow under monitors that flatlined hope every few minutes. I sat vigil in the hall, nursing a styrofoam coffee gone cold, while cops swarmed, Harlan barking orders. Forensics dusting the warehouse for casings that told no tales. Lang had vanished. Plates swapped. Trail colder than the January thaw outside. Sarah paced the waiting room. Kids curled on vinyl chairs with juice boxes and traumas they'll unpack in therapy decades from now. He was supposed to wire clean, she hissed when Harlan stepped out for air. Not play hero. Hero? I shot back, voice raw from screaming his name into the snow.
He goaded Lang.
For what? Absolution? Or to drag me deeper? She deflated, sinking beside Tyler, who clutched her leg like a lifeline. Ethan's flips. Their survival. Like you covering Mill Road. We're all stained. Raven.
Stained.
The word festered as Mom arrived, shuffling in with her cane, face ashen under the fluorescent glare. She didn't cry, just stared through the glass at her boy, the golden child reduced to a husk. What did you do? She whispered, not looking at me. Me? Fury surged, hot and unjust. I tried to stop him. Lang shot first. You poked the bear. Her whisper cracked to a wail, drawing nurses' glances. Always pushing. Raven. Jealous since the cradle. If you'd let him move in, none of this. The accusation landed like a slap. Controversial venom that split my chest. Jealous? I'd bled for this family. Nights pulling doubles to cover Dad's bar tabs. Lies to shield Ethan's ass. But Mom saw only the prodigal, not the price. He killed people.
Mom.
Scammed you. Shot at because his greed caught up. Harlan pulled me aside then, into a side office reeking of vending machine regret. Lang's hold up. Albany's safe house. Tipped by a mole, probably his old DA cronies. Feds are circling, but it's messy. Corruption probe could blow wide unions. Bribes. Hits disguised as accidents. And Ethan? Touch and go. Bullet nicked the lung. But he's tough. If he pulls through, deals off, obstruction sticks. His eyes bored in. You? We can angle accessory light if you testify. The cover-up. The wire push. But it's your call.
Testify.
Air Ethan's sins to the courtroom glare. Orphan the kids for real? Or bury deeper? Let Lang slither free? The dilemma churned. No side clean. Ethan's life a coin flip between redemption and ruin. Night fell heavy. Snow blanketing sins. I slipped into Ethan's room. The beep steady now. A fragile truce. He stirred as I pulled the chair close. Locket glinting on his chest. Rav, he croaked, eyes cracking open. Pain glazed. Fuck. Hurts. Good, I said. No softness. Means you're alive to face it. A ghost of a grin.
Lang.
Got away.
For now.
But you're done flipping.
Ethan.
No more cons. No more covers.
Testify with me.
Clean slate, or as clean as we get. He coughed. Wet and ragged. The kids.
Sarah.
They'll hate me. They'll hate the ghost you more. I squeezed his hand. Bones brittle under skin. Mill Road. Say it. Whisper. I did it.
Drunk.
Stupid. Pushed by him.
But.
My wheel. Tears tracked. First I'd seen since we were kids, skin knee sorry. You carried it. Why? Love. I admitted. The word foreign. Stupid love. Dawn brought feds, suits crisp as indictments. Badges flashing like judgment. Lang's empire cracked. Wire transfers traced. A safe house raided. Him in cuffs by brunch. Snarling about entitled mill trash. The press swarmed. Headlines screaming XDA in fatal cover-up scandal. Our names redacted, but whispers loud. Ethan stabilized. Transferred to a private room where Mom fussed and Sarah negotiated custody like a ceasefire. But the fracture lines spiderwebbed. Tyler asked. Wide-eyed. Daddy bad man now. Emma drew pictures of angels with guns. Crayon red bleeding off the page. I drove the backroads that afternoon. Radio droning holiday reruns. Mind replaying the warehouse crack. Harlan called. Lang singing. Union hits. Bribes, your brother's key. Plea for 20. Walks in 5. You.
Testifying, I said.
Full truth. Mill Road. The lies.
All.
Brave. Or brutal.
Click.
Brutal fit. Mom cornered me that evening. In the hospital cafeteria. Jello quivering between us. Don't ruin him. Raven.
He's sorry.
We all are. Sorry doesn't raise Sophia, I countered. Spoon stabbing fruit. Or give Maria her dreams. Justice isn't ruin, it's balance. Her eyes hardened. The split irreparable. You're no better. Enabling all these years. The words stung true. Forcing the controversial mirror. Was I avenger or architect of our hell? I left her there. The hospital's hummed swallowing sobs. Christmas Day dawned mocking. Gifts unopened under a tree that wilted in the corner. Ethan woke clear. Propped on pillows. Kids clambering careful. Aunt Rav saved me, he told them. Voice hoarse. Lie or legend? Sarah watched wary. Her own deal pending. Witness for leniency. We gathered in the room. Forced family portrait. Mom doling cookies. Ethan spinning sanitized tales. Me silent sentinel. But under the cheer, tension coiled, Harlan's shadow in the hall. Feds prepping depositions. Then the twist call. Unknown number. Albany prefix. I stepped out. Snow-muffled world greeting. Raven Cole, Victor Lang. Offer. Drop the testimony. I bury the dashcam. Your prince. Walk free. Ethan's mess stays his. Bargain or bluff. My pulse thrummed. Why me? You flipped the script. Thought you were the loyal one. But blood's thin. 20 grand. Wired now. For the family. The line died. Temptation dangling. 20K college for the kids. Mom's mortgage. My fresh start. Or testify. Risk Ethan's full fall. Mom's hatred eternal? I hung up, staring at the river bend where Mill Road curved fatal. Decisions controversial as sin, mercy for monsters, or truth that maims. The snow fell thicker, burying choices. As sirens wailed distant, another unraveling. Back inside, Ethan caught my eye. What?
Nothing, I lied.
Pocketing the number.
For now.
But the fire of revenge smoldered, waiting for the wind. The plea hearing was a circus in Albany's federal courthouse. Marble halls echoing with click-clack heels and murmured deals. January's chill clung outside, icicles stabbing from eaves like accusations. But inside, the air was thick with recycled sins. Ethan sat cuffed at the defense table, suit hanging loose on his frame. The ICU pallor traded for jailhouse sallow. Sarah flanked him. Kids absent. Fostered with her sister in Buffalo. A temporary mercy. Mom hovered in the gallery's front row. Rosary beads clicking like a countdown. I took the stand mid-morning. Oath heavy as the Bible in my palm. The prosecutor. A shark named Ruiz with a Brooklyn bite. Paced like a panther. MS.
Cole.
Walk us through December 24th. The warehouse meet. Sweat beaded despite the draft. Flashbulbs popping from the press pool. Ethan wore the wire. Lang arrived for the drop. They talked Mill Road. The setup. Then, my voice hitched. The crack replaying phantom loud. Lang pulled the gun. Shot him point blank. Murmurs rippled. Defense counsel, a slick Albany fixer, leaned in. And your role? You pushed the confrontation. Knew the risks. Objection overruled. I met his gaze. I uncovered the scam. The lies. For my family. Family, he sneered. You covered the hit and run. Lied to police. Accessory. The gallery gasped, Mom's beads stilled. Truth time? Yes.
I did.
Out of loyalty.
Fear.
But that ends here. Ruiz circled back. The call from Lang? Post-shooting bribe. I nodded. The number burned in. 20 grand to drop testimony. I refused. Applause from the back. Activists. Maria's old union crew. Fists pumping silent. But Mom's face crumpled. Betrayal etched deep. Controversial? Hell yes, hero to some. Judas to kin. Ethan testified next. Voice steady under the wire's ghost. Lang set me up.
Pushed the wheel that night.
I panicked.
Fled.
Raven covered because I begged. His eyes found mine, sorry. Brotherly. But she's right. Time to own it. Lang's turn was venom. Fabrications. This mill trash chasing headlines. But the evidence mounted. Transfers. Memos. The dashcam Ruiz projected grainy. Ethan's truck. Passenger shadow fleeing post-impact. Verdict by afternoon. Lang. conspiracy and attempted murder. 25 flat. Ethan. Plea to manslaughter and fraud, 8 years. Eligible parole in 4. Sarah. Reduced to 2. Concurrent. Cheers erupted, but I slipped out. The weight crushing. Justice? A ledger balanced in blood and bars. Mom waited in the hall, cane trembling. You killed him, she spat. Eyes venom. My boy gone. For strangers. Strangers like Sophia, I countered. Throat tight. Like us.
Mom.
He chose this. She turned, shuffling away. The rift a chasm no holiday mends. Months blurred. Ethan transferred upstate. Letters sporadic. Thanks.
Rav.
Flipping clean this time. Sarah relocated. Kids in counseling. Her texts grateful, but guarded. I sold Mom's house, her insistence. Post-rift, banked the equity. Started over in Saratoga. Nursing at a clinic where ghosts didn't haunt the charts. But the twist lingered. Debate fodder in late-night scrolls. Reddit threads dissecting cold case. Sister's revenge or family betrayal. Comments split savage. She saved lives. Freed the truth. Versus. Broke her blood for clout cold. No heroes. Just humans hacking through gray. One night. Spring thaw melting snow to mud. A package arrived. No return. Postmarked Attica. Inside. The locket, Sophia's, repaired. Chain gleaming. Note in Ethan's scrawl. Keep it. For the weight we shared.
Love.
Always. I clasped it. Cool against skin. The past a pendant not buried but born. Revenge? It hollowed as much as healed. A happy ending? Tragic twist? You decide. The line's yours to draw. As fireflies blinked in the yard, I raised a glass to fractures. To Maria, Sophia, Ethan,
Mom.
to the controversial mess of us all. Blood thins. But scars? They tell the real story.